Let's listen in. There's Mayor Bisson.
Having Daryl Oliveira joining our Maui Emergency Management Agency as our interim administrator. As Maui deals with this unprecedented disaster, our response and recovery efforts will need strong leadership. Chief Oliveira's history of emergency management and community leadership will be an asset for us as we deal with the wildfire disaster and its aftermath. In his 31 years as a firefighter on the Big Island, he spent 9 of those years as the chief of the fire department. Following that, he also spent 3 years as what it was then called the Civil Defense Disasters Chief. His experience of emergency management includes the devastating Hurricane Iselle that impacted our Hawaii Island. He will move from Hilo, and he will be welcomed here into our Maui County Ohana. I'd like to at this time invite General Hara and Michelle Kauhani to offer remarks that they have, and also regarding Chief Oliveira's selection. General?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and aloha. I wanted to first start by reiterating that the state of Hawaii is here in support of the County of Maui. We established a Hawaii Emergency Management Agency forward last week Thursday on 15 August with about 30 personnel. And we did that to be more responsive to Mayor Bisson and the Maui Emergency Management Agency's requests. I have worked very closely with Daryl Oliveira in my role as within the National Guard and the State of Hawaii Department of Defense. As the Mayor mentioned, Hurricane Iselle, and then also the 2016 killer whale volcanic eruptions that threatened Pahoa. And he's a true professional. He's an expert in emergency management, and I look forward to working with him. Lastly, I want to address some of the things that the Joint Task Force 5.0 is doing, so with the issues with water in the county. So currently, they deployed an 800-gallon water distribution capability at the intersection of Kula Highway and Cop Road that the public can draw from. And then this Sunday, the military is flying in 2 2,000-gallon water systems. And again, that's in support of the county's water supply and how we can help. And then we're looking at some additional assets from the military for water. So that's all I have for now. Thank you, and aloha.
Thank you for the opportunity. We at the Hawaii Community Foundation stand in strong support of our mayor and all of the folks here on Maui as we continue to raise support through the Maui Strong Fund. Also want to just thank Daryl for his leadership and being here. We have worked closely with Daryl over the years. He's a member of the Hawaii Community Foundation's Hawaii Island Leadership Council. And so we know that both his background and his strong character will be helpful as we move in the days ahead. The Hawaii Community Foundation is really humbled by the outpouring of generosity that has come from across the world. Today we sit at just under $70 million from over 170,000 donors from about 45 different countries. And so we stand in strong support of the county for the current, mid, and long-term recovery of Maui. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to open and say that on behalf of myself, my family, people of the Big Island, across the state, we are so sorry for what Maui has experienced. I am here to support the mayor and his team, work with all the agencies, the community, and to help things move forward and progress so that Maui can recover quickly and effectively as possible. I want to also acknowledge there's been tremendous efforts made prior to me being here. I was fortunate to get on island on Wednesday, start to get dialed in with a lot of the operations, and been fortunate to see a lot of the tremendous work that's already been done by the community and all the agencies here. Look forward to continue to support the mayor and all the operations as the administrator, as well as what we do in the EOC supporting the operations in the field. Thank you.
I just want to say a couple more things before we bring up our next speakers. We will be sharing more with our community next week about what they can expect from FEMA and what they're doing in our community and to help our island recover. We will give you notice of that, the media that is. I want to assure everyone that the county is in coordination with our partner agencies, which includes FEMA. We're working directly with them to help guide all of the necessary efforts in an appropriate and responsible way. We continue to be mindful of our families that still have unaccounted for loved ones. I'm grateful for the outpouring of care and of the support that they are all receiving. I'd ask Chief Pelletier to address you before Special Agent Mel. Chief.
Mayor. Again, aloha. And again, we absolutely need your patience, continued prayers, and we need to persevere. I also have to, because I can't do it enough, say thank you so much to the incredible work that the Maui Police Department, the Maui Fire Department, our federal partners, our folks at the Mint, our other workers, our electeds are doing each and every day. I also need to thank the people of Maui County. The people of Maui County had suffered greatly, and they continue to do so, but their spirit lives on, and they are the most incredible people on this planet, and we cannot tell them thank you, and we cannot tell them we love them enough. And if there's one thing that you want to report, that's probably what it should be. The recovery efforts, 99%. We're going to finish up with the urban search and rescue here today, and we're going to begin any rechecks that we need to do with some of the other processes that we have. I know that Chief Ventura will talk about some of the water searches that will be going on, but we want to make sure that we're doing everything to make sure that we do this as righteous as we possibly can. Yesterday, we released the validated list of 388 names. We were asked a few days ago in this very room, would we release it? And I said we would. But I also mentioned that we wanted to make sure it was validated. And so we did, and made it a very simple criteria. First and last name and a human source that provided that. And I talked about the incredible partnership and integrity of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the leadership of Special Agent in Charge Steve Merrill that got that list, and we have been working tirelessly to get there. But I will tell you this, that we know since releasing it that we have had hundreds of contacts come in. And that's great news for those that come off the list, and it's heartbreaking for those that don't. And so it is a double-edged sword. We knew that, but we want to make sure we're giving everybody every chance to help get through this, and we're doing everything we can to get you the information you can so that we can be Maui strong. God bless.
Good afternoon. The FBI remains a big part of this process. We're thankful that we are able to play a role in this process. We're thankful that we're able to support the County of Maui and the Maui Police Department for a couple of reasons. One, because the FBI has resources that we're using that can help in this situation. And two, because we are part of this community as well. As Chief Pelletier mentioned, the list of 388 names, which came out last night, has already produced a great deal of information. We're collectively very thankful to the people who have reached out by phone, by email, and provided more information. The process that we undertook from the beginning allowed us to collect a lot of information very quickly, but a lot of that information, as I mentioned in the last press conference, didn't contain enough detailed information for us to work off of. As Chief mentioned, the 388 names were names that we had more information on. That's why we released that first. That being said, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we still have hundreds of other names where we still need more information. This 388 names are a subset of a larger list. We care about every single person on that list, and we will not rest until we know how each of those people are doing on that list. Getting back to the 388, again, thank you to everyone who's reached out. It has enabled us to quickly, and I say that within 24 hours, that list came out last night, get 100 people or more off of that list. They were found safely, reported to be safe and sound. Again, we don't take that for granted. We still understand that there's hundreds more that we're still looking for, and we will not stop until we find those people. So please be patient as we get through that list. But this has enabled us, as we get someone off of a list, to devote more resources to those that are still on the list, and that's what we plan on doing. We also welcome additional people being added to the list, because that's information we didn't know before either. If you and your family are looking for someone still and haven't reported it, we want to know that so we can work together as a group to find those people. I also don't want to lose sight of the fact that we've gotten thousands of reports, and again, we thank the public for providing that. Of these thousands of reports, we have been able to find at least 2/3 of them already to be safe and sound, and that is a success. But again, doesn't diminish the fact that we're still looking for many other people. The FBI remains in this fight, and we will stay as long as the chief and the county need our help and our resources, and we're happy to do it. Thank you.
Aloha. Today I'll share with you the recent ocean operations that we've been working on for nearly 6 days. Today I wear white. It's a symbol of hope and trust for our community, and it's important for us to portray that message throughout our community right now, because there's a lot of people working day in and day out to bring closure to some of the unopened and unanswered questions right now. My fire department, along with our Ocean Safety Bureau, have been working tirelessly and closely with U.S. Coast Guard, DLNR, MPD, Honolulu Fire Department, U.S. Navy mobile divers, and the FBI. Once the water was deemed safe enough to enter, we put into effect our plan. Today makes day 6 of our diving operations, where we approximately put 40 to 50 personnel in the water every day. We started last week Saturday and Sunday in the harbor area, and cleared that area prior to going to the open ocean and the shorelines. On Monday and Tuesday, we created a plan and we gridded out areas of concern along the shoreline there. Starting Wednesday and Thursday, we searched along the shoreline up to 30 feet deep, and we so far have cleared 50% of the coastline between Puamana and the north end of the concerned area. Today they're continuing to dive in the water. The 50% that they're concentrating on now is going to be from the harbor south to Puamana area, and we'll get a report back at the end of the day to see if they were able to close that last 50% of the search area. Thus far, we have not recovered any bodies. However, we've accounted for a lot of personal effects that have been shared and passed on to the police department. As we continue to do our operations there, we'll work closely with all of our partners and to provide a good, complete coverage of the area. The area is significant concern offshore, where the people were well known to be going in the water, was searched to a very, very, very high level of degree, with a saturated number of personnel in that area, and they were basically leaving no stone unturned as they went through that area to look for any types of artifacts, remains, or personal effects. We anticipate possibly doing ocean operations through tomorrow, and if that does occur, we'll let you know the results of them. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. At this time, we'll take questions from members of the press. I ask that you raise your hand, identify who you represent, and then we'll have the appropriate speaker. Gentleman here in the gray, followed by you in the white sweater and in the blue checker. Sure.
Ben Tracy from CBS News. This is for either the police chief or the FBI. It's about the list of the unaccounted for. I'm curious, between the people who have come onto the list and have come off of the list, where does the list stand? How many people are you now assuming are unaccounted for?
So the question is comparing before the list was produced with the names and where we are today. Where do we stand with current information? Chief?
Yeah, I'll just clarify. So you put out the list of 388, and you said some people have come off the list very quickly, but you've also added people to the list. So where does the list stand? How many people are
Okay. Where does it stand with how many people on it with the changes?
It's a great question. I asked that same very thing. And so let's just be very transparent with this. We have to vet each and every person calling in to make sure that, one, it's the person that put them on, and are they the person that can actually do that? Here's a reference number with the name that we put out. What people didn't understand, and I'll clarify on this, we had the data buried with that reference number so that we've got that. Actually, the FBI has that repository. And so we want to do an updated list. We want to get that as quickly as possible, but you've heard me say this over and over again, and I'll continue to use this almost as a mantra. We're going to do it right, not fast. We would like to do maybe a weekly update because it is going to take time. Don't hold me to say it's 7 days and where is it at. Well, we're shooting for that. That's kind of a goal that we think we might be able to maintain. The exact number right now, I don't have it because they are literally making those calls, and I wouldn't be shocked if calls didn't come in or emails come in as it was going. But we don't want to take somebody off too quickly. We have no problem adding somebody on, but we want to just make sure that we get it right. One of the sources that came in, and I'll share this without saying who it is, but it actually came from another country. And they said, this is my father, and they circled where they lived. They gave photos, they gave numbers, they gave a whole lot more detailed than we had. And so those things are beyond helpful. And again, if it's a legitimate family member, friend that you have, please get that information to us because that's how we're going to get to where we need to go.
And just to follow up on that, of the 388 that were on the initial list, how many people ended up being alive?
We're still going through that. We're still going through that because we're validating that they're actually alive. So let's get the contact so that we can make that call because we don't want to be premature just to take them off. Unfortunately, people are not as honest and reporting with integrity when they call in. People are, taking advantage of folks, and so we want to make sure that we validate that. And so that's really part of the reason we can't come in here and a day later say, oh, we wiped it down at 150. That's not realistic. It would be great to be able to say that, but it's just too premature. We got to do this right. And so that's why I say, give us that little bit of time. Let's wait. Elections, although on Wednesday after Election Day, we'd love it if we knew who won, but we don't always get that result. So
I might have misheard, but when you said that 100 people have been removed from the list, does that mean 100 people turned out to be alive?
I don't think I said, I don't.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, so I probably misstated that. Thank you for clarifying or asking for clarification. We got at least 100 people that have notified us that a certain person shouldn't be on the list. As the chief said, we want to make sure that that's correct. So that process is ongoing. In addition to follow up on the chief's comments, we are getting a great deal of information, which is great news. And so these numbers are probably going to change quickly. And even if I gave you a guess, I would probably be wrong because we still have a lot of information to call through that we've collected only in the last 24 hours. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you for the question. There, and then to the blue checkered shirt. Go ahead.
Sumiko with NBC's Today Show. You have a beautiful island with the most incredible people, and we all know that you are doing the very best that you can. Respectfully, I'd like to ask about a certain pocket, a small community near the Lahaina bypass. I've talked to family members who say that there are elderly there who have not been contacted by county, by federal people, and they have been in desperate need. Water, food, due to mobility issues, they can't get out. What do you know about that community? Has anybody told authorities? Is there a plan to help them? And if so, when will that help be coming and what form will it take?
So the question is, with all that's going on, there's a community near the Lahaina bypass, reportedly made up of seniors and elderly who seek information and update and perhaps assistance. Are we aware as a county? I'm just trying to make sure I got the question right. Are we aware as a county and what can be done for them? Mayor?
Yeah, so thank you. We have had folks, this is pre-fire, that were staying in that area. I think you're talking, are you referring to Cutback Mountain? Is that the area that's referred to?
No, it's near the Lahaina bypass.
Right by the park.
And
By the park.
homes, yeah, that have not been burned,
Okay.
but are within the restricted zone.
So we are aware of some people who stayed in their homes and their homes were not destroyed. And some of them were not comfortable leaving their area because they thought they would not be let back in. We've opened the road for a while now, so that's not the case any longer. So people have access. We gave away free fuel to people who needed fuel. We've given away free food and water. That's been made available. Now, we haven't gone house to house, I will say that, but others have. Other organizations have gone house to house. We've taken in showers for people that don't have running water. We've taken in porta potties for people that didn't have that. So I would be surprised to learn that people have nothing to them because, I mean, you've probably checked Lahaina yourself. You've checked the Gateway and the Pili Plaza. Those are places that were stood up by the county, and those are goods that were sent there were made available to anyone and everyone that wanted to have them. There are at least 6 other hubs in addition to those pods or places of distribution that were there. So as far as people not going to them, the services are available. We do want to service every one of our communities, and we've done everything we can to do that, and people, again, have gone out to do just that. So I would encourage them to perhaps contact us if they're able to. We can send people to them for sure, but the foods and the services have been made available to everyone there, certainly by now. And it was made earlier. It was made available earlier. So if there's a contact person, we'd take that name down and we'd make sure we take people out.
And I'd like to clarify that they say they have received help, but only from volunteers in the community who've been taking those items into them. So who should family members contact with the county if they want direct help?
So we have different people doing different things, but the American Red Cross is, of course, one of our partners. Our Department of Human Services, Housing and Human Concerns, I should say, they've been helping. The volunteers that you're talking about are folks that the county has put together. We've driven out the buses of volunteers to go into the different areas, especially those distribution centers, and have gone out from there. So I'm glad to hear that they're getting services. We can get them more. Contact our office. MauiCounty.gov is what we've told everybody to do if they have access, and I know some people don't, are not able to get online. But I would say to them that we will send services out to them just as soon as we know what they need and where they need it.
And so the whole point of my question really is to ensure that whoever needs help in this area gets it. And they have specified, the families have specified that these volunteers have nothing to do with the county, that they are literally people who live in neighboring communities and have called in resources.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that they work for the county. What I was suggesting is the county is organizing the volunteers that have been going out. That's all I'm saying. Some people have gone out on their own, but certainly we've, I'm not trying to take any credit for anything, but I'm saying if you call us, we can get the volunteers to them because we have them. And we have access to them. We have lists of people that, when people call in during a disaster like this and they ask how can they help, that's one of the areas we ask them to help, is sign up to volunteer. And we'll drive them out there and put them in our neighborhoods.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, to the checkered, and then we're going to go in the corner there. Sir?
Hi, my name is Nick Vogelburrows with the New York Times. I wanted to ask about the water search efforts, maybe first Chief Ventura. First, if I'm right that you were only able to go in the water on Wednesday, can you just explain the difficulty of going in beforehand or why it took until then to be able to begin those in-water search efforts? And then number two, have you heard from other survivors or any witnesses who were in the water that makes you believe people might have perished in the water?
So we're just repeating the questions for others who may not be hearing it because Akaku is also filming it as well as the county's Facebook Live. So the question is the time it took for our ocean divers to get into their work, and was there any discoveries of anyone that has perished? Chief?
So early on, we worked with U.S. Coast Guard to make sure that the water was tested and safe. The early onset of the incident left a lot of fuel in the water, and so it was not safe for people to enter. And that's what pushed us back until this past Saturday is when we began. As far as your second question goes, there were reports early on at many of these press conferences that the Coast Guard was able to make some rescues and recoveries. I don't have numbers for them, though, but there was definitely talk of that.
might have misunderstood earlier. Were you in the water by Saturday, or you were clearing the area to get in the water by Wednesday?
We were in the harbor Saturday and Sunday last weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Gentleman in the corner. Go ahead.
Nick Levine, Honolulu Civil Beat. The death toll hasn't changed since Monday, and I was wondering if somebody could explain why that is, like to help the public understand, and how, as you reconcile the list for unaccounted folks, how that number could change in relation to sort of inspections moving forward.
Sure. The question is to confirm the current number of fatalities and if that number can change in the days ahead.
It is a really sensitive question. I will answer it. We expected it. And so the honest answer is this. We are making recoveries, and we're doing everything we can to make as much of a recovery of a human being as possible. We also know that we may have some commingled recoveries. And so I'm giving you the number based on what we have and that we believe. In some ways it's an estimate now, and it can change as we identify that, and we'll come in and we'll make sure that we message this is where we're at. And so we can only go with what we have. It's clear you did your research and asking the question based on maybe some of the other tragedies that you've seen, because it's got a lot of thought and logic behind it. And so the real answer is the number that we have is what's confirmed that we believe, and there is a good chance that will change as we are doing our forensics and our exams at the Mint.
So just to be clear, the number is still at 115?
It's 115 confirmed right now. Yes, sir.
Here and then to Ben. Sir?
Thanks. Hi, Kirk Sigler with NPR. I guess I have a question speaking to the recovery process. Since you're still haven't completely cleared the zone and you're not completely confident that there aren't any more human remains in there, does that mean everything's on hold in terms of starting the arduous process to remove debris and clean up? Or I guess could you talk to
So the question is in terms of the phase we are now, and as we move towards debris removal, how they relate to each other. Chief?
There's a few things in that question. And I'll speak to the recovery, and then there's some other phases that are really not police-led, but they'll be led from other leadership in the county. And so if I can just, and these are different things, and I don't compare them just to compare them. This is, and you'll understand what I'm saying, though, when I make this statement. 9/11, 2,000 bodies were never recovered, but that's not why I'm saying I don't anticipate that to be the issue here. But what I'm saying is they're still identifying people 21 years later. And it's entirely possible years from now we find something or someone to lead us to believe that we're recovering human remains. And so there's no secrecy or hidden agenda. We're going as fast as we can, but we're doing it the right way. And so we'll be doing some of the secondary searches, some of the water things, and then the county will come up with what is approved by the head leadership of the county, the mayor, and they'll come up with a plan, whether it's, we won't use the name repopulation, but as we enter people in and get certain things, but you have to have utilities, you have to have things clear. And so I would just, for the lady from the Today Show that made that question, is a great question. You do have people that are living in areas, and I know it's their houses, I get it, but they don't have water, they don't have food, they don't have electricity. There's a lot of harmful things around them, and there's places that we have set up. The county was so quick to work with the state and other partners, and they've got a shelter for them, they've got food for them. And so we would really encourage, I would as the chief of police, really encourage people get out of that area. We don't need to have somebody else die because they chose to stay in a place that they shouldn't be at for years. And asbestos, we haven't even talked about that. And so I just hate for there to be any worse. Thank you.
I can help with that a little bit, I think. So we are going to go until the experts tell us there's no more that they can identify or recover. So that number may not obviously equal the number of people that are unaccounted for. So that's the answer, and we're very close to that according to what the police have shared with us. What's going to happen after that is the EPA will be doing the cleanup of hazards and toxic materials that are there, propane tanks. Some of the propane tanks there you folks have probably seen have not exploded, but they're dangerous. They'll be removed. So the EPA will go through next, and they'll decide and remove. And those things, I just want to report, will be removed out of Hawaii, out of the state of Hawaii, not just off of Maui. They have locations that they dispose of those items. When that's done, we'll make decisions about how people can come back in safely. But before they can come back in, inspectors have to come from the Department of Health and from the building and planning departments to determine if there's a structure, what degree of safety that structure is, and if there's anything either in the soil, in the ash, in the air that makes it dangerous. So we have to have two types of inspectors come through, and they're going to put a color-coded flag on each property, and they're going to determine what the safety level of that is. Those things have to happen first before people that are not suited up can go back into that location. So you can expect that to be the next couple of phases. EPA removal, inspectors giving an air quality and a building quality decision, I should say, on the structure itself if there is one there. And then we'll talk more about how the community can go back to their locations and remove their personal items before we start the next phase after that, which is debris cleanup. So please don't confuse the EPA cleanup with the debris cleanup. They're two separate, they're separate events, and they have separate standards, and we're not there yet. But our phase now that we're in, phase 0, is to complete the recovery of remains. And we understand there's some that may not be recovered.
I'm going to give you that courtesy, and then we'll go to Ben.
Thank you so much. I'm just trying to get a ballpark of the timeline of that. When you talk about those inspections of the EPA, is that days, weeks, months? So what?
Yeah. It's not an inspection, it's a cleanup. The inspection part will take longer than the cleanup because we don't have enough inspectors on this island that work. First of all, the Department of Health does not have a presence here except for a couple of doctors. They don't have inspectors here. So we have to go to Honolulu. And we may have to go to other states to get enough people to come through. Also, the planning inspectors and building inspectors there are too many locations for us to be able to expect our crew to do it, and it would take much longer. So just like we're getting help from the military, from the National Guard, from the EPA, from FEMA, we're going to need help from other states to send their inspectors here so we can inspect those properties after EPA cleans up so that we can get people back on their land.
Question from Ben?
Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now, Chief Olivera. Question for you, and that is, this is your second time to come out of retirement, and given your experience, what will the emergency management agency's role be at this time as far as coordinating all the moving pieces, and longer term, what will the agency's role be in trying to mitigate and prevent something like this from happening again as the fire dangers and hurricanes and so forth will continue for the foreseeable future, including this summer?
Okay, this question is related to the future of the Maui Emergency Management Agency. What steps are being taken as our new administrator enters and moving forward, knowing that the weather conditions will probably remain in our state, of course.
Thank you. And just to maybe expand and use that question and with the response the mayor provided, many things are happening simultaneously or concurrently. As the search and rescue or search and recovery mission is ramping down, we are leaning forward, moving into the next phase. So to the mayor's comment about requesting additional assistance with inspectors, that process has already started with the reach out for additional assistance so that when the time comes, we will be much closer to having the resources available and on the ground here to try to expedite the process. As far as my role here with the EOC, or the Emergency Operations Center, and emergency management, as you said, it is to help coordinate, facilitate, and support the operations for all the missions taking place. Our job is to work closely with our state, federal partners, the community, and our private sector partners out there to get the resources we need to keep things moving forward and effectively and safely for the community. In the long term, one of my roles or goals here is to continue to help Maui County rebuild its emergency management system. to continue to gain the trust and confidence of all of you. For many of you in the community that don't know me, I have to earn your trust, have to earn your confidence with what we can do. And that's my goal, to just reinstill the trust and confidence in the system, because it will need to work for the future. As you know, we're in hurricane season now, so although we're dealing with this crisis, we're still mindful that we're still vulnerable to other events, and the systems need to be in place to take care of the community, which we will do. So we're working very closely in support of the mayor and his team, all the other layers of government and all the partners, and I cannot stress enough, working closely with the community, because there's a huge piece of that with community, with public education, awareness, understanding the threats we live with, what each of us as citizens across the state can do individually and as families to be better prepared.
Quick follow-up, if this will include a goal of perhaps concrete actions and things that can be done and taken moving into the future?
Yes, so looking at warning systems, communication, public education, definitely concrete strategies and I want to say plans that can be communicated to the community. Thank you.
And that's why he came out of retirement, not once, but twice. He clearly cares. We'll go to the gentleman with a black hat. Go ahead.
Sam Stangler with HUN News. Question for Chief Ventura or Chief Oliveira. Oftentimes on the continent, we see wildfires fought with aircraft like C-130 airplanes. During red flag conditions here, when helicopters can't get in the air, would those be effective here? And do we have those capabilities on both a county or federal level?
Thank you for the question. It relates to using a variety of air assets in relation to wildfires as used on the continent as well. Chief?
A great question. It's something we've looked into and we'll further look into. There's a variety of fixed-wing aircraft that are used for firefighting. A lot of the times, the ones that you see maybe dumping retardant, which is that red slurry on the fire, have to land and reload. And so the duration between drops is extensive. And a lot of times it doesn't really fit in our timeline. But we've also looked at those aircraft that maybe can pick up water off of calm bodies of water. And that's our challenge here in Hawaii, because we don't have very many calm bodies of water. But it's something we wanted to evaluate moving forward, just to see if we did need to posture and step forward with events like this on the horizon, if we needed to move resources like that closer to our islands. Thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Ali'i, followed by, and then in the back. Go ahead.
For whoever could answer, what's the process of getting off of the unaccounted for list? Like, do people need to show documents or?
Okay. So the question is, how do you get off the unaccounted for list if you are inadvertently on there? Chief?
It's going to be a little easier putting people on the list and taking them off. But once we can actually prove that that person is either still unaccounted and they'll remain on that, or if they are in fact safe, then we can validate that, then they'll come off.
We're going to Paul and then the woman behind you. Paul?
Thank you. Paul Laker, Maui Alert. The question's for the chief of fire chief, and then maybe the mayor would like to add something. Speaking to the people in the area, and based on my own observations, there were clearly a lot of violations, code violations. Cars on top of cars, and I'm talking about areas where a lot of the obvious fatalities occurred, the heavy burn areas. Houses that were built, additions to houses that were built with apparently unpermitted, lots of people, tiny places, hard to get out of. In short, in the words of people that were there, a death trap. Was it a death trap? And is there anything that you will look at in other parts of the island that have similar characteristics that you can do to alleviate that?
The question in general is, what effect did violations to ordinances for building codes and permitting have to the wildfire disaster? Chief?
So we take many calls for service, requests for assistance all year long, and we apply the fire code, which we have here in the state of Hawaii, and the county of Maui has amended codes within that fire code, and we implement them. We work to provide notices of violations and work with Corporation Counsel to mitigate the hazards. A lot of times people think it may be a hazard, but it doesn't necessarily, it's not a violation of the fire code. And so a lot of times when we do go do home inspections where it may be a housekeeping issue, we cannot enforce something that people want us to enforce. We have to stay within our guidelines of the fire code and whatnot. I can't speak to any of the building construction items, but we will always enforce our fire code, both from the plans review before things are built, all the way through inspections in the community, whether it's brush abatement or housekeeping issues around a person's property, or even vacant land next to neighborhoods. We'll always enforce the fire code to the T.
Okay, so Andrew Kraft here. We're now 10 minutes after the top of the hour. You've been listening in there to Maui, Hawaii officials led by Maui County Mayor Bisson and the police chief talk about the latest when it comes to the response and recovery from the wildfires there that have now killed at least 115 people and left an unknown number of others missing. Remember, we brought you the news just yesterday that Maui County is accusing in a lawsuit Hawaiian Electric, the utility company there on the island, of negligently failing to shut off power and not doing enough, saying this all could have been avoided if the company had taken the right actions. Also, we got as well, I want to put this up. You can see this is the Hawaii Community Foundation's website here. Let's put this up here. And you can see there, it says Hawaii Community Foundation, donate to the Maui Strong Fund. It says the Maui Strong Fund is providing financial resources to support the immediate and long-term recovery needs for the people and places affected by the devastating Maui wildfires. We also got as well from Maui County yesterday a validated list of names of individuals who remain unaccounted for. So 388 individuals who have been reported unaccounted. Now, those two words are important. Reported, unaccounted. There are still others who remain unaccounted that have not been reported to the relevant authorities. And so that number is upwards of 1,000. They say the names are being provided to the public in an effort to help identify anyone who can be accounted for. So the names on the list were compiled by the FBI. They were deemed validated as long as the following criteria was provided: the first name of the person who is unaccounted for, the last name of the person who is unaccounted for, and a verified contact number for the person who reported the individual as unaccounted for. So 388 individuals on this list put out just yesterday by the County of Maui and by the FBI.